Good morning. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. We're going to keep learning and we're going to keep building off of the stuff from the past few weeks. So we've been talking about King David and his heart because God loved him so much. We've been talking about the fruits of the Spirit. Do you remember them? Let's go over them really quick. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. See, y'all are really learning this stuff, and David had this heart that God really, really loved, and it was because he was filled with these things, and he made decisions based off of God and not himself. Now, David made plenty of mistakes, and we do too. And David would ask for forgiveness, and God was always there to forgive him, as he is for us. We're going to learn about a new character today, and I don't really want to spoil it because it's Miss Kelly that's got your lesson and your wonderful memory verse, but I'm going to spend this time teaching you a new song about our lesson today, and I'm really excited about it. There's 3 parts, and it tells this really great story, so I want to teach it to you. Are you ready? All right. One starry night, King Solomon had a dream. God said that he could have anything he pleased. Emeralds, rubies, diamonds, as far as he could see. But he only needed just one thing. All right, let's sing that again. Are you ready? One starry night, King Solomon had a dream. God said that he could have anything he pleased. Emeralds, rubies, diamonds, as far as he could see. But he only needed just one thing. Very good. Now let's see what he needed. God will give us wisdom. That is what we need. Help for every problem. Strength for you and me. All right, so this song's about wisdom. Let's sing that again. God will give us wisdom. That is what we need. Help for every problem. Strength for you and me. All right, there's one more part. You ready? When you live your life following God's plan, he will guide your path with his own hand. If you ever lose your way and cannot stand, just ask him for wisdom. He'll help you understand. All right, let's start at the beginning. One starry night, King Solomon had a dream. God said that he could have anything he pleased. Emeralds, rubies, diamonds, as far as he could see. But he only needed just one thing. God will give us wisdom. That is what we need. Help for every problem. Strength for you and me. When you live your life following God's plan, he will guide your path with his own hand. If you ever lose your way and cannot stand, just ask him for wisdom. He'll help you understand. All right, let's do it one more time, and then we're going to go to Miss Kelly, and you're going to learn this story that goes with this song. One starry night, King Solomon had a dream. God said that he could have anything he pleased. Emeralds, rubies, diamonds, as far as he could see. But he only needed just one thing. God will give us wisdom. That is what we need. Help for every problem. Strength for you and me. When you live your life following God's plan, he will guide your path with his own hand. If you ever lose your way and cannot stand, just ask him for wisdom. He'll help you understand. All right. I hope that you sing this song more this week because this goes right with our story. And I hope you learn your memory verse. And then I'll join you back next week and we're going to go over this song again and we're going to learn some more. So I hope you really enjoy this story about King Solomon. I'll see you next week.
Hey, good morning everybody. I hope you've had a great week. We are back today and we are just moving right along in the Old Testament. We are moving to a new character today, which I'm very excited to talk about. And so we are leaving David behind and we are moving on to David's son who became king after David. So I want you to count with me. We are going to 1 Kings. So we are now going to be in the 11th book of the Old Testament. So we're going to review the ones that we've been practicing, and I hope that you are locking these in your memory so that when you hear a scripture, you know exactly where to turn to in that Old Testament. So here we go. We're going to go to the 11th book, 1 Kings. Let's start with Genesis. Are you ready? Here we go. Get your fingers up. Here we go. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings. That's where we are, the 11th book of the Old Testament. And we are going to talk about David's son, who was king, and his name was Solomon. Say his name with me. Solomon. What was his name? Solomon. He was David's son, and he became king after David. Now, Solomon, when he was king, people would come to him and they would ask him questions, and he would have to make decisions and choices and rule over the kingdom. Now, he wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to do what God wanted him to do, to make those good choices. And so one night, God spoke to Solomon, and he said, Solomon, I will give you anything you ask for. Let's take a pause right there for just a second. If God came to you and asked you what you wanted, anything you could have anything, what would you choose? Now, you might think that Solomon might have chose riches, that he wanted to be the richest king in all the world. You might think that he might have chose all these really beautiful chariots, or that he wanted a big, beautiful family, or he wanted all of these palaces. Do you know what Solomon chose? He chose wisdom. Now, I don't know that if God said, Kelly, you can have anything you want, if wisdom would be the first thing that came to my mind. But that's what Solomon asked for. He asked for wisdom. So what is wisdom? Wisdom is the knowing what to do, how to act, what to say, the right thing to do all the time. Now, wise people are usually older people. They have lived a long life. They have learned a lot of things in their life. But you can be young and be wise. And so being wise is thinking carefully and cautiously and not being quick to act. It's not doing something just because it feels good, but it's making a choice, even if it's hard, because it's the right thing to do. And it's the best for everyone, not just yourself. And so Solomon wanted to be a wise king. Say wise. Wise. Wisdom is very important, and God can bless us with wisdom just as he did Solomon. So God told Solomon that because he chose wisdom to be his gift, he was also going to make him very wealthy. And so Solomon was not only wise, he was very rich as well. And so he's ruling as a very wise king. And one day, something happened in his kingdom that he had to decide about. He had to make a decision about this story that happened. Let me tell you about it. There were two women, and each one of them had a new baby. So there were two women and there were two babies. But one of the babies died. And that mother who had her baby die was so sad. Do you know what she did? She took the other mother's baby Now, that wasn't a very good choice, but she said that it was her baby. Well, the other mother was very sad that that mother had taken her baby, and she said, no, that's my baby. And so they kept arguing over whose baby it was, and then they went before Solomon. So here are these two mothers and one baby. So remember, Solomon is very wise. He's always going to choose the right choice. He's always going to think clearly because God had blessed him with that wisdom. Do you know what he did? He told his guards, his men, to cut the baby in half, to cut it into two parts. Now that doesn't sound very smart, does it? That doesn't sound very wise. But Solomon knew what would happen. So before the guard could cut the baby in half, you know what happened? The real mother said, no, don't cut my baby. She can have him. She can have the baby as long as he can live. Well, Solomon knew that the real mother would never let her baby be cut in two. And so he then knew which mother was the real mother. Now, the baby wasn't hurt, and he went home with his real mother. Solomon was very wise, and he started to get a reputation of being wise. And so people would come to him, and he would have to decide on all of these different situations and problems in his kingdom. Now, let's review. Who was the king after David? Solomon. And God told Solomon that he could ask for anything. What did Solomon ask for? Wisdom. Now remember, wisdom is always thinking clearly, thinking carefully, and acting in the right way, the way that God would want you to act. It's being very wise and responsible. Now, did Solomon actually cut the baby in two? No. Did the baby get to go home with his real mother? He sure did. Now, our new memory verse is going to come from James. Now, James is in the New Testament. James chapter 1 and verse 5. Okay, it's kind of long, so I need you to bear with me. James chapter 1 and verse 5. Okay, it says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Now that verse tells us that if we are not wise, if we don't always make the right choices, then who should we ask for wisdom? God. And it says in James that it will be given to us if we ask God for wisdom. We should always want God to bless us with helping us make the right choices. We're going to review that memory verse one more time because it's really long, okay? James chapter 1 and verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Wisdom. Now, wisdom is something that a lot of people don't have, a lot of people don't want, because they want to do what feels good, not what's right. But we want to do what God wants from us. And being wise, making good choices is going to make God very proud of us. Okay? Now, Miss Lee is still sick. And so we are going to pray this week that she feels better very quickly. And in her absence this week, we are going to do a little craft. I'm going to do that with you in just a little bit. And I hope that you have a great week. And I hope you can stay tuned for our fun little craft. Hey, okay guys, we are back and we are going to do a quick little craft. It's actually something we've already done. We did this several weeks ago and we made these prayer jars. I have Amelia James and Hudson's prayer jars right here, and we are going to add to them. Now, if you weren't with us or you did not make a prayer jar, then you can get a cup, you can get a jar, you can decorate it or not decorate it, doesn't matter, but you need something, some kind of container to put your strips of paper in. So we're just going to add to these. Now, I have yellow paper today because I wanted these to be a little bit different than the white paper that is in our jars already. If you don't have a different colored paper, you can use the same color. That does not matter. Or you could color with a crayon, a white sheet of paper, and then you can write on top of that with a pencil or a marker, okay? Just be careful. Sometimes marker doesn't write on crayon very well. But, so I'm going to use a different colored paper, but that doesn't matter if you don't have that, okay? So you just need to either get your prayer jars that you've already made, or you can just use any kind of cup. But what we're going to do is we're going to pray for things this week that are better than material blessings, okay? Solomon asked for wisdom instead of riches, instead of gold or money or jewels or castles. He asked for wisdom. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. This week, I want us to pray that God would bless us with specific gifts that are better than material things, better than toys or money or prizes. They are gifts from God. And we are going to pray specifically for those fruits of the Spirit that we've been learning with Miss Anna in that song, that silly fruit song that she's been singing with us. And so we are going to pray specifically for the fruits of the Spirit and also for wisdom. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our paper up like a hot dog, long up and down like this. And we're going to match the corners like this. I think I actually have 2 sheets of paper right here, but it's okay. And we're going to make that fold right there. And then we are going to cut down the middle of that paper. So we are going to cut down that middle. I do have 2 pieces. It's okay. Okay, then you're going to take 1/2 and you're just going to make 1-inch little strips like this. They do not have to be the same size. Remember, it doesn't matter how perfect they are. And you're just going to make some strips of paper all the way down. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to write on that, on these strips, the things that we want to pray for to put in our jars, okay? So, the first fruit of the Spirit in our song with Miss Anna is love. Okay, so I'm going to write love. And then I'm going to show it to you. Love. And then I'm going to fold it, drop it in the jar, okay? The next one, joy. Joy. Drop it in the jar. Peace. Okay, drop that in the jar. Patience. That was a tough one. It's not always easy to be patient. Patience. Okay. Kindness. Kindness. I chose yellow paper because these things are better than gold. That's what Solomon thought. Goodness. faithfulness. This one is really long, so start way over. Okay. Faithfulness. Got that? That one's a long word. Okay. Gentleness is also long. Gentleness. You guys are doing great. And the last one, it's another long one, self-control. It's actually 2 words. Self-control. Okay. So, now, those are the fruits of the Spirit listed in our song, but we want to add, now, wisdom, because that's what Solomon prayed for. Okay, so wisdom. Remember, it's thinking clearly, thinking responsibly, even if it's a hard choice. Wisdom. So, remember, you can use these this prayer jar however you want to use it, but when we do it, we just pull one out, and that would be self-control. That would be what we would pray for specifically that day. So you can put it back in here and mix it up, and then this kindness. Okay. So, and if you think of other ones that you would like to add, whether they be physical gifts or these spiritual gifts that we really want to be working on, you can add them to your jar. Okay, and remember, if you don't have a jar, you can just use any kind of cup. Okay, we hope that Miss Lee feels better very soon, and we are praying for her, and we hope that you have the best week. We'll talk to you soon.